Hi, hello, welcome back to SKV. So we are here very much excited. The NEET exam was successfully completed on the last Sunday. So I'm here to clarify all the doubts of your botany questions. So let's see the topic and whatever the questions. Let's resolve all the doubts and clarify. So here there is a second question. If you see the 92, question number 92. Okay, so question number 92, such a question and such a one of the most important one also from the chapter number 2, biological classification. So this is from the biological classification. So he was asking in the question, the symbiotic association between the fungi and algae. There is a clear-cut line is given in NCERT. So the symbiotic association between the fungi and algae are called. Okay, so if you see the options closely, there is a lichens, there is a sponges, and there is a mycorrhiza, and there is a chrysophytes. Generally, if you see all four options, sponges are belongs to animal kingdom, so this is not an option. And chrysophytes, this is belongs to protista, this is also not a correct option. And mycorrhiza, there is a something confusion, there is a simple confusion. Mycorrhiza is association between the plant root and fungi. Plant root and fungi. Okay, so that association is called mycorrhiza. But here is asking the association between the fungi and algae. Okay, so absolutely we can go for the correct option as a lichens. So that is the correct option. Okay, if you see the next another question number 93. So here is the question number 93. Okay, so cell theory was formulated by. So one of the easiest question and one of the direct question from NCERT. So here is a direct question from the NCERT from the chapter Cell, the Unit of Life. From the chapter Cell, the Unit of Life chapter. So direct question, there is no confusions, there is no twist and turns and at all. So here directly, if you see the options, option number 4 is Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Actually, Anton von Leeuwenhoek is the first ever discoverer of a cell. Is the discoverer of a cell. Singler and Nicholson. If you see the Singler and Nicholson, so here is this is the two scientists who are proposed. There is a fluid mosaic model. Fluid mosaic model. Okay, so this is not a correct option. And lastly, Robert Brown. Why Robert Brown discovered the nucleus? Okay, not the cell theory. Not the cell theory. Okay, so directly we can go for Schleiden and Schwann. So Schleiden and Schwann are the scientists who discovered the cell theory formulated for the first time. So that's all. If you go for the next question, number 94, which of the following are the characteristics of prokaryotic cells? Which of the following are the characteristics of only prokaryotic cells? If you observe the options given, okay, you see ribosomes are made of 50s and 30s subunits. Yes, absolutely. We know in case of prokaryotes, there is a 70s type of ribosomes are present. Sir, you may ask the question, sir, here it is given 70, here 50 plus 30, 80 na. Okay, so as you know, when the ribosomes are associated, then they can show the 70s. Okay, when they are associated, then they can show 70s. Okay, if they are dissociated individually, they shows 50s and 30s. Okay, so correct option is also A. A is the correct statement. And if you see the B statement, they can have a plasmids. Yes, absolutely, they have a plasmids. We know plasmids are the double-stranded DNA circular molecules. Double-stranded circular DNA molecules. So these are called plasmids. So they are present in prokaryotes. Then they contain mesosome. Yes, they contain the mesosomes. Okay, so here there is a mesosome because the cell membrane shows the folding. Cell membrane shows the folding. Okay, and that can be given as a whatever mesosome. Next, they have a peroxisomes. No, the prokaryotic cells does not have the peroxisomes. Why? Because peroxisomes are the cell organelles. So cell organelles are being absent in the prokaryotic cells. So because of this reason, you can see option here A, B, C. Both of all the three statements are only correct. So where is that option? A, B, C. So option 4 is the correct option. Okay. Now, the question number 96, there is a mitochondrial inner membrane encloses. Okay, that means, for example, if you see there is a mitochondria, okay, then there is a inner membrane, okay, then this inner membrane encloses means surrounded. So generally inside the mitochondria there is a its own cytoplasm. So this cytoplasm is nothing but a matrix. Okay, so direct question from NCERT, there is no confusions at all. So where is the matrix? Here you see there is a first option itself, there is a matrix. Okay, 7. Question number 97, if you observe, there is a match the following type. Okay, actually if you observe this match, these are not taken from only one topic. These are multi-conceptual matching. It is a multi-conceptual. Okay, so let us closely observe the level list 1 and list 2. So here given cristae. So here what do you mean by cristae? Cristae are the infoldings of inner membrane of mitochondria. Infoldings of inner membrane of mitochondria. So here where is that option is given? Clearly given. There is a infoldings of mitochondria. Infoldings in mitochondria. Then cisternae. Actually, the cisternae are the parts of Golgi apparatus. They are the small disc-shaped structures, flattened disc-shaped structures. So now here you see cisternae. There is a flat disc-shaped stroma. Okay. Here one more. Okay, one more. Here it is a disc-shaped structures. See, disc-shaped sacs in the Golgi apparatus. Not this option. Okay, and thylakoids, yes, absolutely thylakoids. Thylakoids are also just a flat membrane structures of stromat, whatever the stroma of a chloroplast. So here it is the option. Next, phospholipid. So generally phospholipid is a component of a cell membrane. Okay, so if you observe the options, okay, here if you observe A4, okay, where is the A4? So here is the A4. So here question number 97, option is the 2, which is correctly matching. Then 28, here the plastid that stores the xanthophyll. The plastids that stores the xanthophyll is known as. So directly here the plastids are the cell organelles. There are the two types are there: chromoplasts, chloroplasts, and leucoplasts. So within the three types of plastids, then we have a xanthophyll. Xanthophyll is a whatever the brown color pigment which is exclusively stores only in the, here it is a chromoplasts. There is a direct question in the NCERT. Okay. The next question number 100. Photorespiration reaction catalyzed by Rubisco is shown below. Okay, so the photorespiration reaction. So we know photorespiration is nothing but a C2 cycle. Okay, so within the C2 cycle, there is a first reaction. So this is the first reaction. Okay, first reaction. So RUBP binds with oxygen. It produces the whatever the 3-phosphoglycerate, and also another product is asking identify the X, is given X here. So identify the X from the given options. Okay, so here the first option given as a phosphoenol pyruvate. No, phosphoenol pyruvate is not the product of whatever the C2 cycle. And absolutely there is option 2-phosphoglycolate. 2-phosphoglycolate. So 2-phosphoglycolate is the correct option. And oxaloacetate, no, oxaloacetic acid is not the product. And malate is also not the end product. So directly we can go for option 2. So here mad cow disease is caused by, if you see the question, mad cow disease is caused by the straightforward NCERT line, directly the straightforward line from the chapter number 2 biological classification. So here there is a whatever the mad cow diseases are given by, here see the options: prions, viroids, aspergillus and mycoplasma. So as you observe the options properly, mycoplasma, actually this is a bacteria. So it is not known to cause mad cow disease. Next, aspergillus niger, it produces the citric acid, not the mad cow disease. And this is also fungi. Viroids, viroids are the viruses which are smaller than the viruses, and which are having the lack of protein coat. So absolutely they are also pathogenic, but they do not cause the whatever the mad cow disease. So clear option, that is a prion. Okay, so number 1 or 2, if you observe the question, which pigment absorption peak at the 700 nanometer, is clearly asked in the question. 700 nanometer. Okay, so 700 nanometer is represents the, here there is a reaction center for PS1. Okay, it is a reaction center for PS1. So absolutely at the PS1, which has the reaction center, has a 700 nanometer. In the photosynthetic reaction center, PS1, so in the photosynthetic reaction center, which pigment? Is asking which pigment. Generally, if you observe the options, chlorophyll, B, whatever, chlorophyll A, xanthophyll and carotenoids. So in these 4 options, there is a xanthophylls and carotenoids are the accessory pigments. These two are called accessory pigments. So they do not react for the wavelength of 700 nanometers. Only there is a chlorophyll A, because chlorophyll A is the major pigment. So that's why option 2 is a correct option. Next, the question number 105. So here question number 105 easily represents a phyllotaxy, is the pattern of arrangement of, as you know. Okay, so phyllotaxy is the pattern of arrangement of a direct question, that is a leaves. Okay, no confusions, no doubts at all. Okay, then 106. So this is actually from the biomolecules. Okay, so this all matching at list 1 and list 2. If you closely observe here, GLUT4 antibody are from one option. That means they are from proteins. Concanavalin, this is from secondary metabolites, and starch, this is from polysaccharides. Okay, so he was cleverly given that the 4 different options in list 1 from the 4 different concepts. Okay, so that's why let us match properly. As you know, starch. Okay, so here starch is a storage of energy. As you know, it is a storage of energies and energy formation in case of plants. Then antibody, yes, antibodies fight infection against to the infection. We are studied in zoology. Then concanavalin. So lectin is the example of a concanavalin. Concanavalin, which is a secondary metabolite, which is given in the list of biomolecules in the tabular format. So here, finally, GLUT4, it is a glucose transport. Yes, absolutely, it transports the glucose into the cell. Then now let's make the options properly. So here A2, where is the A2? Here is a A2, here is also A2. Then B1, here is a B1, here is also B1. Concanavalin, so 4. So where is the 4? Here is the 4. GLUT4, so here is the 3. So absolutely the correct option is a second option. So if you observe the question, endomembrane system includes, as you know, which is the question from the cell the unit of life, another fantastic question from the cell the unit of life chapter. So here this is a basic understanding of the chapter and also the question. Such a direct question, endomembrane system includes, if you observe the options properly, Golgi apparatus, yes. Chloroplast, no. Peroxisomes, no. And vacuole, yes. So option 4, only 2 are cell organelles which are related to endomembrane system. So remaining 2 are not. So that's why option 4 is not the correct option. If you see the third option, mitochondria, no. Chloroplast, no. Peroxisomes, no. And vacuole, yes. Is asking only the endomembrane system parts only. So these 3 are not the parts of endomembrane system. So only a vacuole is only the part of endomembrane system. So option 3 is also wrong. Then next, if you see option 2, endoplasmic reticulum, yes. Chloroplast, no. Peroxisomes, no. And vacuole, yes. Okay, so here also 2 only are representing endomembrane system, remaining 2 are not representing the endomembrane system. So that's why option 2 is also wrong. Now let us see option 1. Endoplasmic reticulum, yes. Golgi apparatus, yes. Lysosomes, yes. And vacuoles, yes. So absolutely all 4 cell organelles given in the option 1, that is a first option. So that is a correct option. 9. How many molecules is asking the question, how many? Okay, molecules of pyruvic acid. How many molecules of pyruvic acid? You know, pyruvic acid is the end product of glycolysis. Pyruvic acid is a end product of glycolysis. You are studied already in a respiration in plants. So glucose finally produces the pyruvic acid. Okay, so it produces 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. 2 molecules. Okay, so that's why you should remember always 2 molecules. He's asking how many molecules, okay, are produced at the end of the glycolysis from 206 molecules of glucose. For example, here 206 molecules of glucose participated in glycolysis. Then how many number of pyruvic acid molecules are produced? So simple, just whatever the multiplication. So 206 into 2. Okay, so that is the whatever the 412, the perfect option. Okay, 110. Which of the following plant growth regulator is used as a herbicide? First, you should remember the herbicide. So, plant growth regulator. So, plant growth regulator, this is absolutely from the plant growth and development chapter. So, as we have a specific subtitle, plant growth regulators. So, there are the 4 types of regulators are there. So, here auxins, cytokinin, gibberellin, ethylene, abscisic acid. So, here such of the aminos in such plant growth regulators. So, if you observe the options, kinetin is a cytokinin, okay, and gibberellin. So kinetin and gibberellin do not act as a herbicides. So that's why here kynotin is not an option, zebraline is also not an option. Then abscisic acid, there is a doubt. Abscisic acid is only a stress hormone which improves the closing of stomata during the transpiration. So this is not an option. So the correct option is a 24D, that is a auxin. 111. So the given two statements, are there. So if you observe closely statement 1, in gymnosperms, so here we know this is the chapter from plant kingdom, the last segment of the plant kingdom, that is a gymnosperms. So in gymnosperms, the male and female gametophytes are remain within the sporangia. Male gametophyte, which is nothing but a pollen grain, female gametophyte, which is nothing but a, okay, here it is a ovule with respect to gymnosperms. Okay, so yes, they are remain within the sporangia. Absolutely, statement 1 is correct. And statement 2, in gymnosperms, the seeds are not covered. Gymno, which means not covered. They are naked seeds. So they do not contain any seed coat. So they are directly exposed to the nature. So that's why they are always not covered. So this is also correct. Now let us see the correct option. You see, both statement 1 and 2 are correct. So directly click for option 1. Next, yes. Question number 112. There is a question number 112. If you observe the question number 112, it's a matching question. Again, there is a matching question. So if you see, there is a question from the biological classification. Okay, so in the biological classification, this is the group of bacteria which are grouped into 4 groups. So on the basis of their shape. So directly spherical shaped. So spherical shaped occi, then a rod shaped bacilli, comma shaped vibria, spirillum shaped spirilla. Okay, spiral shaped spirilla. So whatever the option here, A2, here is also A2, here is also A2. A rod shaped B4, so here is a B4, and comma shaped C1, and spiral shaped D3. So absolutely option 4 is the correct option. So 113, question number 1, which of the following are the characteristic features of Solanaceae? Actually, there is a doubt will come. Why? So Solanaceae family is not mentioned in NEET syllabus, but there is a syllabus, there is a question comes from the deleted portion, that is a Solanaceae family. So Solanaceae family, which is already prescribed in the old NCERT, so you must follow the old NCERT to attain this question. So here there is a Solanaceae family. So if you see the Solanaceae family, here there is a option statement given A, flowers are bisexual and actinomorphic. Yes, flowers are bisexual and actinomorphic. Calyx have 5 sepals and are united. Absolutely true. And option C, andrecium have 5 stamens and are epipetalous. Absolutely true tracement. Here ovary is a inferior. No, ovary is a superior. Ovary is a superior one. So that was the only one thing which is a wrong. So correct options, he is asking choose the correct answer from the options given below. So here A, B, C are the correct. So here there is a B, C is the correct option. So select the correct sequence of experiment that leads to the gradual understanding of photosynthesis in green plants. So actually this is a question from the photosynthesis in higher plants. For the first time, this is the question which is given a little different way, but easy way only. If you remember the order of the sequence of the scientist, so whatever the first scientist has a whatever the here we can say that Joseph Priestley. So Joseph Priestley experiment, that is he given as a roll of air. So roll of air, then automatically the next one is here it is a release of oxygen. That means another scientist conclusion, release of oxygen. And another scientist here really production of glucose. And another scientist absorption spectra of a chlorophyll A and B. So according to NCERT, given in a line by line order of the sequence of the scientist, he is asking the conclusions. So clearly the option number 2 is the correct order of the sequence. Next, here question number 116 is a little bit confused, but here it is. If you know the conceptual clarity, it is easy to attempt. How many terms of Kelvin cycle? How many terms of Kelvin cycle are required for the formation of a 3 molecules of glucose? So generally, if suppose one glucose molecule, okay, turns into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. So these 2 molecules of pyruvic acid undergo 2 times Krebs cycle or whatever the Kelvin cycle. Okay, so here terms of Kelvin cycle, which means C3 cycle. Okay, so Kelvin cycle is called C3 cycle, as you know. Okay, so on the basis of the name of the scientist Melvin Kelvin, so required for the formation of 3 molecules of glucose. 3 molecules of glucose. Suppose generally 1 molecule of glucose turns 6 times. Okay, so now he is asking 3 times. So here 3 into 6. Here there is a 3 into 6 is equals to 18. So absolutely the option 4. Okay, 118. So 118 is a botany part. If you observe the matching list again, this is the question from the living world chapter. So here there is a list 1 and list 2. So list 1, let us match with the list 2. Here family. So here is a family, Anacardiaceae. Anacardiaceae is the family. Then genus. Who is the genus here? Yes, absolutely. Mangifera is a genus. Then class. What is the class here? There is a whatever the Sapindales is the class. And here whatever the Sapindales is the order. So class is a whatever the Dicotyledonnae. Okay. Order is a Sapindales. Okay. Order is a Sapindale. And here there is a phylum or division is a whatever the Dicotyledonnae. So directly we can pick up the option here A3, B5, C2, D4, E1. So directly whatever the fourth option is the correct option. 119. Arrange the following taxonomic categories in ascending order. Ascending order. Ascending order means from lowest to highest. So what are the given taxonomic categories? So here firstly species, okay, that is the lowest one. Okay, ascending order, that means from lowest to highest. Ascending order la first species will come, then next genus will come, then next family will come, then next here order will come, then next here class will come, then next here phylum will come or division, or here there is a kingdom. So this is the ascending order. So as per this order, let us see which option is matching. That is our first option. Okay, so this is the first option which is correctly matching according to ascending order. Number 120, okay, if you see question number 120, okay, matching list, again the matching type question from the botany, and this is also from morphology of flowering plants. So here there is a directly, if you see, there is a whatever the marginal placentation A4, and here it is a whatever the axial placentation tomato is the example, and here parietal placentation there is a agrimone is the example, and finally free central placentation prime rose is the example. So only placentation and their respective examples. So correct option deals with the 4. Sida belongs to, there is a straightforward question from NCERT from the chapter Plant Kingdom. So here Spinopsida belongs to the direct question, that is a pteridophytes. That is a pteridophytes. Then question number 122. Which of the following statements regarding the photorespiration are correct? So here there is another question from the photosynthesis in higher plants. This is also called a C2 cycle. Okay. So tremendously, for the first time from one topic, two questions are given. So here this photorespiration do not occur in C3 cycle. No, it do not occur in C4 cycle. And CO2 consumed, O2 is generated. No, O2 is consumed and CO2 is generated. And phosphoglycolate is formed. Yes. No synthesis of ATP and NADPH. Yes. So choose the correct option from the given below. Only C and D. Where is the option C and D? So option 2 is the correct option. And question number 123. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So another question from the cell, the unit of life. So it has a ribosomes attached on its surface. No. If it is attached, that will be a rough endoplasmic reticulum. And this is the major site for synthesis of lipids. Yes, absolutely true. And it is actively involved in protein synthesis. No, because there is no ribosomes. And it is a site for synthesis of carbohydrates. No, not at all. So directly, whatever the option number 2 is the correct option. So question number 125. So genus represents. So this is another question from the living world chapter. So here genus, as you know, there is a simply group of related species. So where is that option, related species? So absolutely option 3. No doubt, no need to take more time. And the next, so a simplest question. Which one of the following is not a prokaryote? Not a prokaryote. So here bacteria is a prokaryote, so this is not an option. Blue-green algae is a prokaryote, so this is not an option. Mycoplasma, this is also prokaryote, so this is not an option. Only fungi are the eukaryotes. So that is the option number 4. Then here, which of the following plant growth regulators promotes the internode elongation prior to the flowering in cabbage? So first and foremost, internode elongation is specifically designed to zebralic acids. So where is the option zebralic acid? Directly here, zebralin. So option number 2 is the correct option. Number 128. The correct sequence of adult cell cycle phases. So there is a little bit confusion if you see this word adult. So, sir, generally adult cells will undergo G0 phase. Absolutely na. So adult animals, that this line is given in NCERT. So to make you to confuse, he given that adult cell cycle phases. But if you see in the options, okay, there is nowhere G0 is mentioned. Okay, if G0 phase is given, then there is a option would be there. But in the 4 options, there is no G0 is mentioned. So that's why directly we can go to the option. Here there is a G1, S and G2 and M phases. So G1, S, G2 and M phase. So this is the correct option. 29. Okay, another question from the class 12th biotechnology, and also there is a multi-conceptual. So here there is a matching list. First one, here is a fusion of protoplasm between the gametes. Fusion of protoplasm. So fusion of protoplasm on a plasmogamy. Okay. Fusion of 2 nuclei. So that is nothing but a karyogamy. Yes. And generation of haploid spores. So haploid spores are produced by meiosis. So here A3, where is the A3? Here is A3. Fusion of 2 nuclei. Okay, whatever the A2. So A2, this is the A2. This is not an option. B3. Okay, B3, yes. And C1. So this is the C1. So absolutely option A is the correct option. Okay. Given below 2 statements. Here statement 1, chromosomes are fully condensed at the end of the prophase 1. At the end of the prophase 1. Yes, absolutely. At the end of the prophase 1, which means from the meiosis is asking, not from mitosis. So please don't get confused. At the end of the prophase 1 of meiosis. So some people don't see this one number. So that's where they thought that that is a mitosis. No, this is completely question from meiosis. Okay, so chromosomes are fully condensed at the end of prophase 1. So statement 1 is correct. Meiosis 1 resembles the mitosis. No. Why? Because in meiosis 1, chromosomes are separated, not chromatids. So that's why meiosis 2 resembles the mitosis. So our statement 2 is wrong. So now direct option. So statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is false. Next, 93. Question number 133. Length of the stem at time 0 is at 20 centimeters. Okay, so this is nothing but a L0. And the arithmetic growth rate is 30 centimeters per day. Arithmetic growth rate is 30 centimeters per day. So what is the length of the stem at the end of the 7th day? So this is the 7th day on R. Okay, so he's asking arithmetic growth. So here there is a LT equals to L0 plus RT. So this is the formula. LT equal to L0 plus RT is the formula. So suppose he's asking the what is the length of the stem at the end of the 7th day. End of the 7th day. So here there is a 7 days are there. So let us calculate. So 7 into 30. Okay, that is equals to whatever the 20 or 210, 210. So but here you need to add initial length also. So 210 plus 20, that is the initial length. So that's way here total 2110 plus 220. So this is the 230. So here is where is option 230. So this is the option number 3, 230. Arrange the following elements in descending order. Arrange the following orders in a descending order. The elements are in a descending order. So directly if you observe, oxygen has most, okay, and carbon follows the next, and hydrogen follows the next, and nitrogen follows the next. So directly A, B, C, D. So where is the option A, B, C, D? So option 1 is the A, B, C, D. Perfect option. Question number 136. Which of the following is used as a clot buster? Clot buster. Generally, there is a direct question from molecular, whatever the microbes in human welfare. So here in the microbes in human welfare, there is a topic is given bioactive molecules. So there is a direct question without any thinking. Streptokinase is commonly called it as a clot buster. The next question number 137. So question number 137 from the biotechnology principles and process chapter. So here is asking the inactive form of Bt toxin is converted into the active form in the insect gut. Okay. Here inactive form of the Bt toxin converted into the active form of the insect whatever converted in the insect gut simply directly due to the alkaline pH. Okay. So that is the correct option. Which of the following are the primary consumers in a food chain? Primary consumers. So here there is a directly question. Whatever the primary consumers are, they commonly call it as a herbivores. Herbivores are the animals which eat the herbs. So they are depending upon the producers. So they are called primary consumers. Then next, here there is a 147 zoology. Here how many theca are present in each lobe of a typical bilobed angiosperm anther? How many theca present in each lobe? Generally, each lobe comprises 2 theca. So directly option is a 2. Okay. 153. Which of the following statements about lac operon is correct? Which of the following statements about the lac operon is correct? So gene is I is constitutively expressed. Gene I is I for regulator gene. So regulator gene is always expressible. Lactose activates the repressor to bind to operator. No, lactose acts as the inducer to binds to repressor, not to operator. Gene I, Z, Y, A share a single common promoter. No, because Z, Y, A are the structural genes and I is a regulator gene. So it is not share a common promoter. And galactose can act as a inducer of lactoferrin. No, the lactose can act as a inducer for lactoferrin. So directly the first option, that is a correct option. 154 question, which of the following female gametophyte and angiosperm helps in guiding the pollen tube for fertilizing the eggs? Straightforward question from the NCERT of sexual reproduction of flowering plants from class 12. So directly here there is a synergid cells, because synergid cells have a finger-like projection, that is a whatever the filiform apparatus. Then question number 155. Which of the following plant produces the non-albuminous seeds? Non-albuminous. That means there is no endosperm remain persist in the seeds. So those seeds are called non-albuminous seeds. So here P is the direct example, which is non-albuminous seed. Next, if the diploid chromosome number of a typical angiosperm is a 36, diploid, that means here 2n equals to 36, 2n equals to 36. Okay, what would be the chromosome number in its endosperm? Endosperm ploid is a triploid always. So absolutely you can add here 18, because haploid number is 18. So 36 plus 18, that is equals to here 54. So option number 3 is the correct option. 161. So here question number 161, if you see the question number 161, consider a population of 10 million cells. Okay, consider a population of 10 million cells. Given per capita birth rate is 0.002. Okay, so B for birth rate, that is a 0.002. And the death per capita death rate, so death rate for D, so that is also 0.002. The expected number of cells after 10 generation. So here birth rate and death rate are equal. So obviously no organisms are died, no organisms are born. So absolutely here there is a B minus D, that is equals to 0. So absolutely whatever the generation given population 10 million cells, so 10 million cells is the correct option. PCR, primers bind to the DNA strands in the which step? So PCR is a technique which has 3 steps. First one is a denaturation, annealing, extension. So here the primers are bind to the DNA strands in the here annealing. That is the answer. That is a annealing. Next. Okay, question number 163. Given 2 statements, one is labeled as assertion and another is labeled as a reason. So now let us see the assertion. So here the logistic growth model of population is considered as a more realistic than the exponential growth model. Yes, absolutely true statement, because logistic growth is more realistic. And reason is given as a resources are finite. That means definite. Definite means resources are limited. Okay, so because of resources limited, only the logistic growth model is only the realistic one. Why? Because logistic growth model only entertained by the nature, not by the exponential growth. So absolutely A and R are the correct, and R is the correct expression of assertion. So that is the option. So here question number 167 from the botany part. Another question, that is which of the following enzymes synthesizes the precursor mRNA? Precursor mRNA. Who is the precursor of mRNA? That is hnRNA. that is hnRNA. So absolutely RNA polymerase 2 can synthesize as the hnRNA. So that is the option number 2. The next question number statement 1 and statement 2. Statement 1, plasmids are autonomously replicating DNA. Yes, absolutely true. Statement 2, plasmids are extrachromosomal DNA. Yes, both our statements are correct. Option number 1 is a correct statement. Next, for a person with blood group O, which of the following is not possible combination of parents' blood group genotype? For a person with blood group O, so here, for example, blood group O, so that is IO. Okay, so what are the, which of the following is not a possible combination? Not possible. So in case of parents, no I0 should be found present. No I0, that no IO. Okay, it should not come IO. So what is the correct option? Absolutely, here there is a, for example, if you see, for example, IA, okay, and IB mother, and IA, and here there is a IO is a father. Okay, so here is a mother, here is a father. So absolutely there is a possibility of a child will be always either A, either B, only AB are possible, but O is not possible. So that's why this is the correct option. Even below two statements, one is labeled as a assertion, another labeled as a reason. Assertion, in a experiment, Mendel observed that F1 progeny plants are all tall and none are dwarf. Absolutely true statement. For example, if you make the capital T versus small t as a parent, so you will get the gametes capital T, here also small t. So in F1 generation, capital T, small t will come. So in the F1 generation, all are tall only. And here, reason, stem height is a contrasting trait with the all the tall is being a dominant and dwarf is being a recessive. If tall is being a dominant, then only it is expressible in F1 generation. Okay, so that's why if you see the correct option here, there is a both assertion and reason are the correct, and reason is the correct expression of assertion. Here again the question from the whatever the recombinant DNA technology or biotechnology. Given below two statements, one is labeled as assertion and another labeled as a reason. Assertion, in a recombinant DNA technology, lysozyme is used for disrupting the bacterial cells while cellulose is for plant cells. Assertion is true. Okay, and isolation of genetic material leads the disruption of cells. So if you disrupt, that means broken, then only you can isolate the DNA. So assertion and reason are true, and reason is also explaining the assertion. So that's why both A and R are the true, and R is the correct expression of assertion. Next, which of the following statements are correct? So here there is a whatever the energy flow. Okay, so here energy flow from producers to consumer is unidirectional. Yes, absolutely correct. So if you see the pyramid of whatever the any kind of a ideal pyramid like this, energy flow from producers to consumers is a unidirectional. And option here statement B, energy of pyramid are never be inverted. Pyramid of energy can be never be inverted. Yes, absolutely, it is never inverted. And C, transfer of energy follows 1% law. No, it follows the 10% law. So option A and B are only correct. So option here there is a options. Next, biotechnology principles and process. So here there is a different words are given in list 1 and list 2. So let us match up the question. Transformation. So transformation is nothing but a process of transfer of DNA into bacteria. Then a cloning site. So cloning sites can be related to restriction enzymes. And selection. So selection can be done by the antibiotic resistancy. That's why we are can go for antibiotic. And ORI is nothing but origin of replication. So that's why replication. So A2. So here is a A2. B1. Here is a B1. C4. Here is a C4 and D3. So absolutely option 1 is the correct option. That is the whatever the paper discussion for NEET 2026 re-NEET exam conducted in the last Sunday. So thank you for watching. Please follow and subscribe SKVCC online platform. Thank you. Thank you very much.